Right now, let's move on to the Detroit River and Bill Fleming.
Okay, thanks very much. Back here on the Detroit River, we've had a couple of more heats in the Gold Cup competition, and it's still Tahoe Miss and Miss Smirnoff tied with 800 points this time. Chuck Thompson and Miss Smirnoff winning his heat. Let's go down and meet him and Keith Jackson. Keith?
Well, here's a man who 2 years ago just missed the trophy that he's never won in hydroplane racing, and I guess, Chuck Thompson, you've won just about everything except the Gold Cup, and you're in position to get a hammerlock on it this year, hopefully.
Well, Keith, don't count it till the end of the race. I've had that happen so many times, but we're going to try and change our luck this time.
You missed it, by, if I remember, by about 6 feet in a second the last time, Chuck.
Just about.
How about that Smirnoff? Looks like it's running real well for you.
The engine's performing beautiful, the boat's riding good, and I have no complaints at all.
It might be that you're a little heavier than most of them, and consequently you get a little better ride through the turn.
No, we're not heavier, definitely.
Well, now you've been driving boats how many years?
Oh, I've been driving the Unlimiteds for almost 20 years. I started out with the first Miss Pepsi, and then the 2-engine Miss Pepsi, and I've had 3 boats of my own, Short Circuit, and 2 Miss Detroits. I drove Jack Schaefer's Such Crust. We had a few records with that. And I drove Bill Harris Tahoe Miss for a little over 3 seasons. And now I've gone to Smirnoff.
And the Tahoe Miss is one of the boats you're going to have to beat today.
You bet.
Well, Chuck, good luck to you. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Keith.
Chuck Thompson, who will be driving the Smirnoff and who is one of the men to beat this afternoon.
All right, thanks very much, Keith. And now let's take a look at these standings. Tahoe Miss and Miss Smirnoff with 800 points. Dixie Cola with 600. Savairs Probe with 525. Miss Budweiser 469. Dollar Bill 450. Wayfarers Club 394. And Miss Madison with 169. So that's the way things stand now as we move to Heat 3A.
Right now, I'd like to introduce to you our artist reporter, Bob Rieger, who is covering the Gold Cup here today in his most unique style. So let's check in with Bob right now while we're waiting for the next heat and see what he's come up with so far. Bob?
Thank you, Bill. This is my first Gold Cup, and I've spent the week covering the trials, which determine the 12 fastest boats. The river has been ideal for the trials, and I've used our ABC dual-action camera on all angles of this 3-mile course. Let's take a clear, close-up look now at these $30,000 boats in action and study the aerodynamics of the hydroplane at top speed. Here's the characteristic sight of the hydroplane and white rooster tail flat out on the front straightaway. Right here is the Whittier Bump, a point on the course where there is a natural roll in the river, very dangerous, and could bring a boat to grief if a driver hits it wrong. The Belle Isle Bridge turn is a long, wide turn where the boats hop pretty good, as you see. But the drivers take the 6-buoy turn at high speeds of 125 miles an hour. The driver must have lightning-quick reflexes over the changing surface, for he knows that hitting water at 140 miles an hour is like being shot by a cannon into solid concrete. A stray beer can floating by can rip the aluminum hull wide open, here as they head up the back straight. The Unlimiteds do not flip as readily as do the smaller class boats, but they can come close. A spin-out on the turn must be avoided. They call this boat a 3-point suspension. They ride on half of the propeller, which has 2 blades, and the boat is free and clear of the water, riding only on 2 sponsions, about 10 square inches on either side, right below the cockpit. The boat rides on the tunnel of air, and like an airplane wing, the hydroplane scoops the air, lifting the boat off the water. This is how the great speeds are achieved, as there is less friction and drag riding on the air than riding on the surface of the water. The key to the turns is that you don't want to lift too high. You want to keep flat. Stability on the turns is most important. Here our camera is on Belle Isle. The men drive with their arms braced against the wheel so they won't hit a bump and get the wheel in their teeth. There are no seat belts. And here is how it will look to a trailing boat behind the leader's rooster tail. The trailing boat must stay clear or have his motor washed out. And on the turns it can be rough, where the trailing boat can drop into the trough, the deep wake, and real trouble. The rule states you must have 10-foot clearance when passing.
Thank you, Bob. Now here's the way the boats will line up for Heat 3A, and it ought to be a dandy because Tahoe Miss and Smirnoff will lock for the first time today in an actual head-to-head battle. Savairs Probe, Miss Budweiser, Dollar Bill, and Miss Chrysler Crew. So this should be quite a heat, Bill Muncie.
Of course, you can't count out the other boats. Miss Budweiser is in contention as well as Savairs Probe, so though the Tahoe Miss and Smirnoff are locked head-and-head, this is going to be a good battle down to the wire.
And a good start. As Smirnoff gets a good jump on Tahoe Miss at the very start, and there are almost 5 boats abreast. Savairs Probe is on the outside, and it is Smirnoff, Tahoe Miss, Miss Budweiser, Dollar Bill as they head down. Boy, isn't that a sight?
Those ABC cameras are jumping right into the living room. It is tight. The competition is close. The water isn't just exactly as smooth as it might be. It's a little rough. Smirnoff with Chuck Thompson moves into that corner real good with Tahoe Miss running on the outside.
Yeah, that's a good place for Chuck Thompson to try to move Myra Slovak to the outside, I would imagine, as they move down toward the backstretch and those ground swells. Earlier, Bill, before you came up to join us, we mentioned those ground swells. Were they pretty bad on the Detroit yacht side?
They were, particularly just before the start of the heat. The wind came up, and here you notice a tremendous battle between Myra Slovak and Chuck Thompson going down that back chute heading towards the Detroit Yacht Club. Thompson, however, has what we call Slovak on the hip, which means he has the right of way, he has control over the field, and it's going to take Slovak at least 3 or 4 miles an hour more to get by the Smirnoff.
So Chuck Thompson and Myra Slovak engaging in a duel here in Heat 3A as they come around. Look how close Chuck Thompson takes that one.
A pro's pro. He drives that boat through there like it was on a wire.
Miss Budweiser and Saber's Probe with Dollar Bill running 3rd, 4th, and 5th in that order as they come around. And now Chuck Thompson has a good lead over Myra Slovak in the Tahoe Miss as they head down this straightaway.
Of course, Bill, when you're dealing in split seconds...
Oh, we've got trouble, Bill. There's a boat on fire, and the flare has been shot off. Immediately, the boats will cut off, and there's a boat.
It's the Miss Chrysler crew.
Right you are. Bill Sterrett's Miss Chrysler crew has caught on fire. That's the new boat this year with the 2 Hemi Chrysler engines in it. And
it would appear as Red Loomis is with his Saber's probe trying to help Bill Sterrett, who was in the water.
Yeah.
To the left.
Apparently, Sterrett now swimming over to Saber's probe, and they're going to get out with the firefighting equipment and the divers to try to put this fire out on Miss Chrysler crew.
The rule says that as soon as a man's in the water, the race is stopped.
Boy, there's a fellow with a lot of courage, climbing up there with a fire extinguisher to put this fire out. Wow. And that he does. So they'll have to restart Heat 3A, and we'll be back for the restart here on the Detroit River in just a moment. Well, it looks like Miss Chrysler crew with Bill Sterrett, the driver, is out for the afternoon. The fire was put out, but the boat is out of commission, so she will not be running. So we'll have this restart now with 15 seconds to go of 3A. Miss Budweiser, Smirnoff, Tahoe Miss, Saber's Probe as they come down.
And this competition, Bill, will be real intense between the Smirnoff and the Tahoe Miss because they're tied in points, and it's an important heat.
Very important heat as Myra Slovak gets a good middle slot there, and right next to him is Chuck Thompson. Oh, Thompson dug it, and the boat has flown apart. The red flare goes out immediately. Tahoe Miss and Chuck Thompson were riding side by side, and all of a sudden a tremendous sheet of water, and I see no sign of the boat whatsoever. Bill, do you?
So I have no idea how to explain exactly what happened. It looked to me like Smirnoff was moving up through the pack in close competition, of course, with the Tahoe Miss. They were all in good lanes. They were all had good directional stability. Neither boat got out of attitude and just at the last, moving so very fast.
And now the Coast Guard very quickly gets to the scene, and there is a skin diver out in the water, and apparently that is Chuck Thompson floating in his preserver.
The Coast Guard rescue work throughout the nation has been phenomenal.
Well, boy, I'll tell you, they were there in about 20 seconds.
Without question, they do magnificent work.
And they're getting the driver into the copter. We see no signs of the boat, just a couple of pieces of debris in the water.
It sank immediately. He must have been thrown clear. I hope that he was thrown clear.
Boy, oh boy, everybody is just stunned here because you know the seriousness of an accident like that at that speed.
It didn't look like they were. It looked like they were handling beautifully as they went across the starting line.
It looked like a great start. The water didn't seem to be too rough, although that is a tough spot, as you explained earlier to us. So they will now take this chopper over to the ambulance, which will be in the first aid area, and undoubtedly rush Chuck Thompson to the Detroit Receiving Hospital. So we'll be back with more of the action of the Gold Cup here on the
Bye.
helicopter has landed in the area of the ambulance, and now they have taken Chuck Thompson in the ambulance to the hospital. And that happened so quickly, Bill Muncie. Let's see if we can review it, just exactly what happened in slow motion.
Bill, it's difficult to tell. The boats were moving so quickly, and Thompson was moving beautifully through the field, but it would appear that he hit a little lump, came up, and dropped down on the right or the left side. And then the boat, of course, caught its what we call the non-trip area and went into the water stern first. But it's impossible to see it because it was handling so well. It was accelerating beautifully up through the pack.
And so, as mentioned, Chuck Thompson has been taken to Detroit Receiving Hospital, and of course this heat will have to be restarted. So we'll be back with more of the Gold Cup competition here on the Detroit River as soon as a decision is made as to when it's going to start. But right now, let's go to Jim McKay and to Chris Economaki and Roger Ward at Daytona.
Well, let's go to Detroit and Bill Fleming.
Okay, back here on the Detroit River, we have some very sad news to announce. We have been informed that Chuck Thompson was fatally injured in the accident at the restart of Heat 3A, and we're all deeply grieved to have received that word. We are now in Heat 3B of this competition with Tahoe Miss, Xavier's Probe, Smirnoff, Miss Budweiser, Dollar Bill in that order in the point standings. And in this heat, we've got quite a battle going on between Dixie Cola and My Gypsy. Dixie Cola with Freddie Alder, one of the real veterans of racing, against one of the rookies, Jim Ranger, who is in My Gypsy, on the outside, and they have been going at each other ever since the start of this heat. Dixie Cola on the inside. This is the 1,000-yard marker coming to the finish line. My Gypsy's on the outside, and is Jim Ranger closing fast, and he just does nip Dixie Cola at the finish line. So My Gypsy and Dixie Cola, 1-2 in that order. Now let's go down to the pit area and Keith Jackson.
Well, here is a man who wears an unusually heavy burden at this hour, Lee Shaneth, who is the chairman of the Unlimited Racing Commission, but also the owner of the Smirnoff. First, may I ask, Lee, if you have had time to assimilate any plans for the future?
Keith, not as yet. We're going to have a meeting, I hope, tomorrow, right after the race, and make a decision. We have a lot of problems in our organization, losing the boat completely and losing our fine driver, Chuck Thompson. We have that problem plus mechanical problems, and our future we'll decide as soon as possible and let it be known to everybody.
Well, Lee, you're deeply concerned, I know, with the perpetuity of the sport of unlimited hydroplane racing, and as an official of the Unlimited Racing Commission, what are the steps that have to be taken now?
Well, Keith, we've gone along for so many years in this very high-speed, dangerous sport, and maybe we've just been plain lucky that there's been no disasters and tragedies. But now we have upon ourselves some serious accidents that have cost the lives of 4 of our best drivers and my best friends. And a committee has been formed, and a thorough investigation is going on right now, and we hope to come up with all the facts, the reasons, and explanations as soon as possible. And at the same time, we're going to lay out the future of unlimited boat racing. It is going on. I think it would be a disaster to ever stop this sport and let these 4 men's lives go to waste. They dedicated their lives to this sport. Ronnie Musson was vice chairman of the commission on the West Coast. Donnie Wilson was my southern commissioner. Chuck Thompson was the controller of the unlimited financial end of it. These men were the working men of this sport. Plus, they were in it a long time, and they were the tops. And I think it would be a waste of their lives to ever think of doing anything but building racing up bigger and better than it is.
It's an irresistible fact that risk is indigenous to racing, so it's something that you must live with.
Positively, I think racing, any kind of a contact sport, skydiving, boat racing, car racing, airplane racing, it all is. In fact, we lost one of our great boat drivers, Bill Stead, in an airplane accident earlier this year. So the world will go on and boat racing will go on.
I think you're right. Lee Shaneth, the owner of the Smirnoff and chairman of the Unlimited Racing Commission.
All right, let's get a comment from Bill Muncie here. Bill, you heard Lee's comments. I know you feel very deeply about what has happened.
Well, there's any question about it, Bill. What has happened to us in the past 2 weeks has been an incredible thing. It's just impossible to imagine. Certainly right now, as an organization and a competitive effort with the loss of 4 of the finest that'll ever hit the sport, we must operate from a position of strength, and I'm sure that's exactly what we'll do.
All right, we'll be back with the final heat from the Gold Cup on the Detroit River in just a moment. Set to go now for the final heat Tahoe Miss with 1,200 points, Dixie Cola with 900, Save Airs Probe with 825. Those seem to be the boats within striking distance of Tahoe Miss anyway. And the way things stand right now, Miss Dixie Cola would have to win to have Tahoe Miss drop out in order to win the race. And here we go. The start is on. And it's Tahoe Miss taking the lead right at the starting gun.
Can I add, Bill, that that surprises me a little because Tahoe Miss's position is one of good, sound strategy. She doesn't have to win this heat to win the race. She did a tremendous amount of racing, and there are those ABC cameras once again jumping into your living room. Tahoe Miss isn't about to get in trouble. He's out in front in good shape. I'm a little surprised that Mira is turning it on as hard as he is because a consistent performance going round and round and round and being there when the checker is down is important. He did a tremendous amount of racing earlier in the day. Of course, it'd be kind of nice to walk off with 4 victories one afternoon.
Right. Well, now he's dropping back, and Dollar Bill taking over the lead in the lower turn, and Tahoe Miss is throttling back considerably. Save Airs Probe moving into third, and looks like Save Airs Probe is going to take him. He does, as Dollar Bill comes down the backstretch now in first place. Tahoe Miss is way on the outside. Save Airs Probe running third. My Gypsy has moved over to fourth, and Tahoe Miss has dropped back almost to fifth place.
It looks like a number of boats are going to be able to get under him. Dixie Cola now has moved up in a good, strong position in second place. Now, either of these two boats, particularly the Dixie Cola, could win this event should Myra Slovak and the Tahoe be unable to finish.
That's a good point to remember, that you must cross the finish line in order to get points. So if he finished in fifth place, he would take 127 points and give him 1327, and a 400 point for the Dixie Cola would only give him 1300. So there it is in a nutshell. It's the thing we've been talking about in Gold Cup type of racing, that you don't necessarily have to win the final heat to win the day. Here's Dollar Bill.
Everything is on earned points throughout the afternoon, and Miro went in a very good, strong strategic position. And Dollar Bill here, this is the first time I think they've been able to get out in front with Warner Gardner driving it. They're out leading the pack and in a good, strong shape, too, putting on a good performance.
Yeah, let's bring that point up. Warner Gardner, former retired jet pilot with the Air Force, is now in the cockpit of Dollar Bill because of an infraction of the rules by the original driver, Norm Evans.
Yes, the rules read that you have to be on the course and running at the 1-minute gun. Unfortunately, in one heat there, Norm was unable to get the boat started, was sitting in the middle of the race course still trying to get it started when the 1-minute gun went. And he did just about get it fired up. It created wakes, and of course
that's the reason for
it. Created an infraction of the rules. And there's Miro Slovak in a good, sound strategic position. I'm glad to see that he's driving a little relative, well, sort of conservatively at this point.
Well, Myra Slovak knows what it is to be involved in an accident. It seems to me 4 or 5 years ago on Lake Washington, he was tossed out of a boat and spent months in a hospital.
Myra's been banged around a number of times. Just about all of the fellas, if you're going to drive and drive hard to win, there are certain inherent risks, of course, but many of them, we hope, are calculated ones.
Here now is Dollar Bill coming around to take the checkered flag. Dixie Cola and Save Airs Probe battling for second and third. The checkered flag is out, and here is Dixie Cola, driven by, this is Save Airs Probe. Dixie Cola coming around on the inside, Save Airs Probe on the outside. My Gypsy running in fourth place as they come around to take the checkered flag. And as they come down, it's My Gypsy crossing. Tahoe Miss will be in fifth place if she can keep running now just around the turn, and for an extra 1,000 yards she will have the Gold Cup wrapped up for this year. Myra Slovak has never won the Gold Cup, nor has Tahoe Miss, Bill Harrah's boat.
Myra has been in contention many times, in very tight, red-hot contention for the Gold Cup over a period of years, but has never won it before.
He's got it now. The checkered flag is out for Myra Slovak, and his crew very happy down there, waiting for him to come on in. So that's the way the final heat shapes up. Dollar Bill, Dixie Cola, Save Airs Probe, My Gypsy, Miss Tahoe, Miss Budweiser did not finish this final heat. So Tahoe Miss will have 1,327 points. Dixie Cola with 1,200. And Myra Slovak, a happy fella, bowing in his Continental. Whoops, he almost slipped into the water.
He's a very colorful guy, and I'm sure he'll be a great Gold Cup champion this year.
All right, let's go down to the pit area and get a word with the new Gold Cup champion.
Right, but it was rough. Harry, I think this bucket I cannot hear. Well, kid, after so many years, finally.
Took a long time.
It was a hard work of the crew, Mr. Harry Volpe, and all the people who help us, the drivers. It's a great achievement for all of us.
How many times did you try for it, Myra, before you got it?
How shall we say, 13 years?
That's right.
It's a long time.
Well, let me offer you the congratulations of a personal friend. We're delighted.
Yes, thank you very much, kid.
I know that you knew when you went out there all you had to do was finish it and you had it.
Yes, it's kind of unfair for the people to put a good show on, but we fight for the Gold Cup, which is the greatest trophy for all of us. And that's the reason we play it safe, not putting any show on, just finished 4th or 5th, and we make it.
Well, you can't forget that you won 3 of them, and that's where you got your edge.
Yeah, yes, it helped.
Well, again, congratulations, and I know there are thousands of people around this country that are delighted for you.
Thank you very much, kid.
Myra Slovak, the Flying Czech, finally winning the Gold Cup, the 1966 Gold Cup, a race that has been marked by tragedy, misfortune, but great excitement as always. And that's the story from the pits. The champion has been chosen. He's Myra Slovak, driver of the Tahoe Miss. It's the first Gold Cup for him, the first Gold Cup for Bill Harrah, the owner of the Tahoe Miss.
In addition, of course, to the prize money, which is considerable today, there is also the prestige of owning the Gold Cup and having the name inscribed there forever. This is what it's all about, this cup right here.
And I might mention that Bill Muncie's name is on this one 4 times, Bill. We hope you get a 5th one here.
We'd like to try again, Bill. There's no competition like Gold Cup competition, and everybody tries very, very hard to win. And I think we've had a good, hard, well-driven race here today.
And our thanks to you for joining us here with your comments throughout the course of the afternoon. Well, here's the final standings. Tahoe Miss, 1327. Dixie Cola, 1,200 points. Savers Probe with 1050. Dollar Bill with 850. Smirnoff finished in 5th place. And, of course, the tragedy, the death of Chuck Thompson, will give that boat 5th place for the afternoon. Miss Budweiser had 694. And the crowd leaving here, saddened, of course, with the loss of Chuck Thompson, as another Gold Cup is written into the books. So that's it from the Detroit River. Now let's go back to the Firecracker 400. Jim McKay, Chris Economaki, and Roger Ward.